Hello, the Pioneer viewers. We continue to analyze the latest developments in the Russia-Ukraine war. In a moment, we will tell you the latest developments on the map. According to the latest reports, there are two regions where the war between the Russian army and the Ukrainian army has intensified: Zaporizhia front line and the Donetsk front line. The Robotyne section of the Zaporizhia front line is the scene of the fierce clashes on the Donetsk front line, where the Ukrainian army has the strongest defensive fortifications. The Russian army is losing a large number of armored vehicles despite all its attacks. When we look at the situation on the Donetsk front line, we see that the defense fortifications of the Ukrainian army are quite strong. The attack power of the Russian army here is also quite large. However, this power is melting day by day. The most important reasons for this is the strong defense fortifications of the Ukrainian army. So what is the latest situation on the front line? Let's analyze the developments together. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss the daily map reports and agenda reports prepared by the Pioneer team. You can also support me and our team by using the super thanks button below the video. Continue to express your opinions about our content in the comments. I read all your comments. So let's start if you're ready, the Pioneer reports. We begin by analyzing the latest developments on the Robotyne sector of the Zaporizhia front line. We'll start by looking at the Robotyne area. First, look at the Robotyne area on the map. As you know, the Ukrainian army has been conducting offensive around Novoprokopivka, south of Robotyne, for quite some time. In recent days, the Ukrainian army has been carrying out quite heavy artillery activity in the direction of Novoprokopivka. There is a very heavy artillery attacks in the area. No new progress has been made so far. However, the attrition rate of the Russian troops in the region is increasing day by day. Also in the Robotyne region was Vasilivka, a region that had been quiet for a long time. Vasilivka is located at the westernmost end of the Zaporizhia front line. It has been quiet for a long time. It's also a critical area because it is of great importance for the side that wants to dominate the Dnieper River. As you know, the most important strategy of the Ukrainian army on the Zaporizhia front line is to expose the area it wants to capture to intense artillery fire. In recent days, we have seen an increase in the activity of the Ukrainian artillery units in the Vasilivka area. From this point of view, we can predict that the fierce ground battles between Ukrainian infantry units and Russian infantry units will intensify in the Vasilivka area. Let us analyze the artillery activity in the region in general. According to the latest reports, the Russian artillery units targeted Ukrainian positions in Plavny, Kamensky, Orikhiv, Robotyne, Novodanilovka, and Malaya Tokmakcha. Artillery units of the armed forces of Ukraine hit Russian positions in the Lovogoi, Zherbyanka, Nestryanka, Kapani, Salatka Balka, Ichenko, Verbov, Novoprokopivka, and Novopokrovka. Let us now analyze the latest developments in the Vuhldar sector of the Zaporizhia front line. There was a calm here for a few days. However, this calm has been left behind. Russian troops launched an attack on the Ukrainian army through the Novodonetsk line. As you can imagine, this attack failed. We have already mentioned it before. The Ukrainian defense line in the Vuhldar sector of the Zaporizhia front line is quite strong. This defense line does not allow the Russian army to pass through. In this way, Russian troops attacked but cannot dominate any area, and this causes the Russian army to suffer many casualties. The Ukrainian army had applied a similar strategy in the region. It allowed the Russian army to attack, and then when the Russian army's strength was exhausted, it took action and captured Yorkhain and Stromayorsk. We can say that a similar situation is happening now. Ukrainian troops opened the field for the Russian army to attack. In the coming days, Ukrainian troops may mobilize with the furious attacks. However, this is still a possibility. The coming days will show us whether this possibility will be realized or not. In the Vuhldar sector of the Zaporizhia front line, the offensive is concentrated on the eastern flank. Novodonetsk was one of these areas. In the coming days, we can see that the mutual ground operations will take place in this area. Let's talk about the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units targeted Ukrainian positions in Blagodatnoe, Yorkhain, Perchistovka, Vuhldar, and Vodyany. Ukrainian artillery hit Russian positions in Priyodny, Zaporizhia, Sharmelinka, Novodonetsk, Novomyrsk, Pavlovka, and Nikolotsky. I would like to continue by analyzing the latest developments on the Donetsk front line. As you know, there is an intense pressure from the Russian army in this region. For a long time, Russian troops have been trying to advance in the direction of Avdiivka. However, as I mentioned at the beginning of our report, one of the strongest defensive fortifications of the Ukrainian army is located on the Donetsk front line. The Russian army is trying to break through the Avdiivka front. Especially in the south of Avdiivka, there is an intense pressure from the Russian army. Russian troops have captured several areas here. However, I do not think that a long-term domination will be established in these areas. Because the Russian army suffered quite a lot of casualties to capture quite a small area. This situation both reduces the advancement capacity of the Russian army and reduces its protection capacity. It is said that the Russian army lost nearly 40 armored vehicles in just one day. From this point of view, we can say that the Russian army has a diminishing power by advancing. The traditional Marinka attacks of the Russian army also continued during the day. However, Russian troops did not make any gains during these attacks. Let's talk about artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units targeted Ukrainian positions in Novomykhailovka, Alexandropol, Krasnohorivka towns, Nevolotskoye, Permovskoye, Berdyachi, and Ocheretin. In turn, Ukrainian artillery shelled the positions of the Russian armed forces in Alexandrovka, Sharmelivka, Donetsk, Pasky, Opytny, and Krasnohorivka. Let's continue by analyzing the latest developments on the Bakhmut front line. As you know, the Russian army has been conducting attacks in the region for a long time. Especially the Klishchivka region is the focal point of the Russian army's attacks. The railway line in the region is largely under the control of the Ukrainian army. Ukrainian troops are conducting intensive area defense in this region. Russian troops could not make any gains despite large-scale attacks. Ukrainian defense forces managed to repel the Russian troops. It is also claimed that the Ukrainian army has made progress in the Kurdyivka section. Let's conclude by analyzing the artillery attacks. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery shelled Ukrainian positions in Andriivka, Bogdanivka, Minkivka, Zvinkivka, Vaziivkivka, Radilivka, Vesyugl, Vimka, Spronoi, and Verkhanovmaskoye. Ukrainian artillery targeted Russian positions in Ozarynivka, Kordomivka, Bakhmut city center, Yagodnoye, Berkhovka, and Yakovlevka. What do you think? Do you think the Ukrainian army will be able to stop the Russian offensive in the Donetsk? How do you assess the Russian offensive in the region? What are your opinions about the offensive of the Russian troops on the Bakhmut front line? Tell us in the comments. I read and care about all your comments.